Welcome to It's Been How Long? The podcast about Cherry Hill High School East students from the late 1970s and early 80s. This is Kara Siegel. I'd like to welcome in Denise Charette Rentschler into the It's Been How Long podcast studio this morning. Hello, Denise. Good morning.
Hello, it's so wonderful to be here with you today. Thank
Ah,
you so much for doing this. I'm really enjoying listening to many of the podcasts, and I'll admit I haven't listened to all of them, but I'm going to do my best when I have some quiet moments to do that. So, just want everyone to know that I'm praying for everyone for health and for safety and courage and bravery in times of adversity. And if anyone out there has been affected by this storm, I just hope you're getting the help that you need.
all right. Well, thank you for agreeing to be on the podcast, and those are lovely sentiments for everybody. Thank you.
You are welcome.
So here we are, 44 years after graduation, and what keeps you busy these days?
Oh my goodness. Well, my husband just came in from the doctor. He has to have foot surgery.
Oh,
So I'm going to be on nurse duty and chauffeur duty again in a couple of weeks. Oh, pardon me, not a couple of weeks, in November. So for 2 weeks. So I'm going to be taking care of him. So that's kind of a main priority. My husband is semi-retired. He does work a little bit as a criminal and defense attorney. So he's a little high maintenance, but I love him. We've been married for almost 37 years. So that keeps me busy. And then when I'm not taking care of him, I have two adult children that still live at home. So I'm still cooking quite a bit and keeping the house clean. And then I work part-time for a an event planner called the JDK Group. So I serve at various weddings. I also assist in culinary. So that's a lot of fun.
nice, nice. That's great. What do you do for fun?
Oh, what do I do for fun? Well, you're really going to love this. I work out at the gym for 2 hours
Okay.
to keep my body strong so that I can then do my work and take care of my family, plus all my volunteer work. I'm very involved politically in my area as well as pro-life advocacy, and I'm also working. I'm doing volunteer work at the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank. And so that's an important work that I just started doing recently. Very involved in my church as an extraordinary minister, Bible study, just helping my community, helping my neighbors.
That's great. That's
Yeah,
great. So what
yeah.
did you do back in high school? What kind did you do any particular activities?
I did review. I have to admit, I couldn't remember everything. So I kind of look back. I know I was pretty smart. I was in the cum laude society and honor society, did French club. If I kept up my grades, my parents allowed me to be in the one act plays.
Oh,
So I know there are a
nice.
few individuals that were involved in the dramatic productions, like Karen Higgins. So I
Hmm.
listened to her a little bit, and Matt Muscat, and I think Robert Thurston was the director of one of the one act plays. So that was a lot of fun. I remember doing that. And then outside of school, I had activities also. Would you like me to share those
Yeah,
too?
yeah. Did you have a job?
I was not allowed to have a job until my senior year. My
Okay.
grades were the number one priority. My parents instilled that in me. So I had to keep up a high GPA, and I did that. But I worked, it was actually a Strawbridge and Clothier. I was on a teen
Oh,
board,
okay. Okay.
and I did some modeling there, which was a lot of fun. And I also was part of the St. Thomas More youth group, and I
Hmm.
sang in a folk group with a guitar.
Oh,
And so
did
I
you
did
play
that.
guitar or did somebody
No,
else?
no, I
Okay.
just sang,
Okay.
and that was nice in the church setting. I belonged to St. Thomas More
Hmm.
and belonged there. I My husband and I were actually married there in 1988 with big
Nice.
Catholic service mass with three priests, so it was pretty big.
Wow.
And but going backwards, I worked every summer at St. Mary's nursing home as a nurse's aide.
Oh, that's very nice.
So that was very valuable work. I'll be honest, it was very hard work. So it's a little difficult to take care of elderly men. And my one sister, who was pre-med, she had no problem with it. But I was kind of a little naive, a little nervous about doing that. But I obviously took really good care of the patients, and it would help me years later as I had to take care of my parents as they
Yeah.
were very ill, and in their dying days, I had to. especially take care of my father.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
was important.
Yeah. So what did you do after graduation?
After graduation, I went to Immaculata College, which is now a university, and I studied economics
And
and
that's
business.
located where? Sorry.
That's outside of Philadelphia. It's off the main line. Maybe for those that like to shop, 20 minutes from King of Prussia Mall.
Okay.
It's high upon a hill overlooking the beautiful vista of the Chester Valley.
Nice.
Beautiful, beautiful campus. I wasn't involved in athletics in high school, but I definitely enjoyed being physically fit. So I ran several miles every day, maybe 3 to 5 around the campus to keep physically strong. And then when I got my work done and I was a class officer, did other types of community service, like going into Philadelphia to work at the soup kitchen. I found time for dating and also for going to some of the discos and dancing with all of my very fun friends from college.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So where are you living now?
We live live right across the river from Harrisburg in Camp Hill. And so we built our house in 1991.
Oh
So
well.
we've been in our house for quite a long time,
Yeah.
gradually renovating the house as we take care of braces and cars and college educations and a wedding coming up. So trying to
Oh,
balance all of it.
congratulations.
Thank you.
So have you and your husband had a chance to do some traveling either around the country or internationally?
I'll be honest with you, we did one international trip
Where was
on our
that to?
honeymoon,
Oh, okay.
Mexico,
Oh,
Puerto
no, nice.
Vallarta. I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
see the Love Boat though.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. And it was quite an experience. We averted an international incident. I didn't get to tell you that I met my husband at a college night at George Mason University. And there was a young man from Harvard on one side and a
So
young
you
man.
were, let's just to clarify, so you were
Sir,
there, you were there representing your business or your college, and your husband was as well?
yes, my roommate from college was an admissions counselor. And so this was in 1986. So
Hmm.
she wanted me to discuss my career. Some of
Okay.
my friends got married right after college and started their families. I had a goal. I wanted to work for 4 years before I even entertained getting married. So in
Okay.
1986, I was in banking and I had an excellent job doing commercial real estate loans. And so I went to this college night to share my banking experience and my career. And two young men, one was on one side of me and one was on the other side, and the Jacksonville person stole my pens. So I went to ask him. He was a little more assertive, obviously. I went to ask him to return my pens, and he said, "No, I'm not giving you the pens unless you give me your phone number."
Ooh.
So I said, okay, I'll think about it. Let me finish my work here, meeting students and representing my college. So I did that. And then afterward, I invited him back to our hotel. Wait a sec, don't think anything bad about that. There was a bar and a disco there. So I invited him back, get to know him, and we had a nice time. And after that, he broke up with his girlfriend, told his parents he'd met the girl of his dreams, and we began a long distance relationship. He was in Virginia. I was in New Jersey. And then he moved to Pennsylvania when he passed the Pennsylvania bar.
Oh, did you ever get your pens back?
Yes, I got a
Okay.
lot more than just pens.
All right. All right.
And then we go back to Mexico, which is where he didn't like to dance. He was a terrible dancer. That first evening I met him, that should have been my red flag. That could be a problem. But all his other qualities were amazing. So I said, okay, I think I can just give up on the dancing. But we went to Mexico and I was begging and pleading, can we please go out to this discotheque? I heard it's absolutely amazing. And I had to drag him out. He finally agreed. We went there, and there was a table of all these young men sitting next to us. And I kept pulling my husband out to try to get him to dance, and he kept saying no. Well, one by one, each of these young men next to our table asked him if they could dance with me. You would have thought he would say no. No, he said, go right ahead. So for the next hour and a half, I danced with all these young men. I was very polite, very diplomatic. I thought of this as my diplomatic duty.
Okay.
to represent America, that we're not all maybe unfriendly. And then finally, after I'd gone through an hour and a half, I said, "It's time now for you to dance with me." And I said, "And you better not leave." So that was probably one of the last times we we danced on the honeymoon. He didn't want to do that again, and I kind of didn't either.
Oh,
So
all
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So, going back to high school, was there a class or a teacher at East that influenced you beyond your high school days?
Well, I loved math. I really enjoyed my senior year with Mr. Druce and calculus. And I also enjoyed the fact that there were a lot of cute guys in the class.
Okay.
So that kind of kept me awake because it's hard to do calculus first thing in the morning. So
Yeah.
I needed something that helped me to keep focused, sort of focused.
All right. Did you have
Yeah.
a high school sweetheart?
Interestingly enough, my parents were very strict, so I really wasn't encouraged to date too much. I also, maybe you don't recall, I came into the high school as a sophomore.
Oh, okay.
Prior to that, we lived in Virginia, and my
Oh,
father
okay.
was a Defense Department at the Pentagon.
Oh,
So
wow.
he was very strict, and my mother was also. And I did go out a little bit with a very nice young man named Kirsten Lorscher, sophomore
Mhm.
year. Went to soccer banquet. But after that, I pretty much stayed away from dating and just concentrated on my studies as well as my after school activities and my job.
Okay. Do you have friends from East you're still in touch with?
Actually, I was looking back through the yearbook and I feel kind of sad because I didn't keep in touch with anyone. The only one that reached out to me on Facebook was Bob Skinner.
Mm,
May he rest in peace.
yeah.
And the reason he reached out is my parents did allow me to go to the junior prom with him, but
Oh,
it's because my parents and his parents knew each other. So that was okay.
gotcha.
So I haven't kept in touch. I did go to the 20th reunion,
Mhm.
and I actually brought the picture here just to
Oh,
show you. That was the last time I went to the big reunion.
oh, wow.
That
Yeah.
was 2000. And
Yeah.
I do believe I saw Kirsten there and a few other people, but I honestly can't remember everything. I think as you get older, I'm 62 now, it's hard to remember everything.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, no, totally. Did you have a standout memory from high school? Something that sticks with you to this day?
Well, I guess I felt really happy that I was able to participate in the one act plays.
Yeah.
And I know we won. We went to Bucks County Playhouse and we were recognized there as the top one act play. So I felt really good about that. And memorizing lines would help me in my career because I
Hmm.
would then memorize various presentations to present in front of the board of directors when I was doing a large uh, commercial real estate project. So,
Oh, wow. So there you
yes.
go. That's
Yeah.
great.
You
That's
never
great.
know things you learn that can help you, down the road.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Anything you wish classmates knew about you back then or now?
Well, I'll be honest, I was kind of lonely because I was sort of a mixed person. I was in the group with the students and then the drama group and just a cross section of people. So I can't say I fit into one group specifically.
Sure.
And I think it was a little hard coming in as a sophomore where everybody kind of knows each other.
Hmm.
And I was looking back at the names. There were a few people on my street like Alan Simeone and Jim
Oh,
Arsenault,
mhm.
Kurt Gilson and Michael Camarazano, if I recall, and Paul Cole. May he rest in peace. I think they
Mhm.
were in the youth group. Matt might have also been in the youth group at St. Thomas More.
Matt.
Matt Muscat.
Okay.
I
Okay.
believe he also might have been in the youth group too.
Hmm.
So there were people from church and then obviously the different activities. But I think because I wasn't allowed to socialize that much,
Hmm.
you miss out on something. And so one of the things as a parent, I told my kids, socialize, socialize, socialize. I mean, I had the entire basketball team over for a sleepover and woke up the next morning and they're all there. They were sleeping all over the house and made, I can't tell you how many pancakes and bacon,
Yeah.
and how many gallons of milk I went through for these 12 or however many. And I think there were a few from the football team too. So my home was always welcome to my children's friends. I wanted to know their friends, wanted them to come over and feel very comfortable.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So I know you said you had younger sisters. So you had a chance to go back into the building after graduation, but did you ever you didn't raise your kids there, right? Or so you
No,
didn't
no,
you
no. So I have three younger sisters, and the next sister was the year below, um, and then the next one behind. So we were three in a row.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's why it
Okay.
was very difficult. My parents put three of us through college at once.
Wow.
And then, like a lot of military families, there was a baby boom in 1972 after Vietnam. My
No.
dad served 2 years in Vietnam, and I have a sister that's 10 years younger. So
Oh, okay.
she's 52. She wound up going to Camden Catholic
Oh, okay.
for high
Okay.
school.
All right.
So I haven't been back in the school,
Since
yeah,
your third sister graduated.
right,
Right.
yes. So
Yeah.
it's been a long, long time. I did
Yeah.
just drive past it recently.
Oh, okay. All
I
right.
drove past it. We went to my parents, both died of cancer, very
Hmm.
traumatic. And
Very
we went,
sorry.
thank you very much. I know a lot of family are afflicted with cancer, and I myself am right now in remission for cancer.
That's
But
good.
we went back, and they're they're buried at Locust Wood on Route 70.
Hmm.
So we went back a few weekends ago, and the five of us, my husband, three adult children, and prayed at their gravesite and put flowers on their grave. And then, of course, like we always do, we need to have a little fun. We went to Ponzio's afterward,
Oh, nice.
which was a favorite place of my parents, and had a really nice meal.
Well, that's great. So we're back in 1980 and you're looking out 44 years down the road. Is this where you saw yourself?
No, not necessarily. I was very successful in my career. I think if I had stayed in my career, I decided to step away to embrace full-time motherhood. Been
That's great.
kind of running myself ragged for 10 years. I actually was up for a promotion, so it was quite the sacrifice to do that. But I just felt it was the time to do something else. I think if I had stayed, I probably would have maybe risen up in the ranks to a very high level. I was doing very, very well. I was very outgoing, brought a lot of business in. In fact, my last assignment, I was late 20s. I was taking over for someone that was 65 years old.
Oh, wow.
So the moment I entered the office, he went to the golf course.
Okay.
And I was tasked with cleaning up every single commercial real estate file to prepare for a federal audit.
Oh, wow. That doesn't
And
sound like fun at all.
let me just say, I was the perfect candidate because I have borderline OCD. I'm
Okay.
very detailed oriented. Every single file was put together perfectly. And let me tell you, we passed with flying colors, and all the bosses were very, very happy with me.
Well, that's great. That's great. Did you enjoy high school?
I actually did enjoy high school quite a bit. As I said, I had a pretty well-rounded uh, experience there. I did have friends, but I couldn't develop those real close relationships because my parents pretty much ran a tight ship regarding socialization. I had to really study and do my activities at church, and so but I still thought it was a great experience, and I definitely would enjoy uh, coming to the reunion if I'm allowed to, depending on my future daughter-in-law's schedule for me the week before they get married.
Okay. All right. Um, Best piece of advice you'd go back and give your 18-year-old self, or maybe you gave your 18-year-old kids.
My parents, I love them very, very much, but it was difficult because they were just so strict. And the words my mother would use that were pretty much ingrained in my way of dealing with things was to grin and bear it,
Ah,
no
okay.
matter what.
Yeah.
I don't believe in that. I believe you can only grin and bear it if you have support from parents, therapist, counselors, a spiritual counselor, good friends. You need to be able to talk to someone if things are bothering you. There is such a crisis in mental health. And I suffered a mental health crisis at 39 after a miscarriage. And
Mm,
I'll tell you, I reflected back again about it, and it was during the time of 9/11. I
wow.
lost my baby, my third child,
Mhm.
just a few days before 9/11 hit.
Mhm.
So it took some time to get better, but out of the darkness came light, because then at 41, my husband and I were blessed with a daughter.
Okay. That's
And
wonderful.
incredible miracle. So we have three children, adults, 32, Michael, 28, Harrison, and Gabrielle, or Gabby, who's 21,
Okay.
who's
That's
not
good.
keeping us young, or sort of keeping us young.
So we've reached our fast and furious finish. Did you have a favorite TV show or a favorite movie or a favorite book from back during high school?
I would say that my favorite TV show, well, there were a couple. My favorite TV show at nighttime was Charlie's Angels,
Okay.
because I thought, oh wow, I could get out there and help people, and still, kind of look. Yes, 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 yes. uh and so Charlie's Angels, I can't say it was my favorite book, but it was very challenging. Miss Dr. Carpenter assigned The Brothers Karamazov
Oh
by
wow.
Fyodor Dostoevsky. Oh, I
Yeah.
said that pretty well. That's
Yeah.
hard to pronounce. And years ago, I revisited the book, and I thought, oh my gosh, that was an awfully challenging book for a sophomore in high
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
So the movie, trying to think of any movies. I think there was one, Logan's Run. It was some Back to the
Yeah.
Future.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think Farrah Fawcett was in that. So you're
Okay.
getting a theme there.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
Farrah Fawcett. I cut my hair in college and had that Farrah Fawcett do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And then we had this 3 o'clock break in the dorm.
Hmm.
Some of us had our own TVs, but most of us did not have our own television. We would go to the dorm lounge and watch General Hospital.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing, because I'm embarrassed even saying that. But
Uh,
it was sort of our little break. We had our GH break, and then we all went back to our studies.
okay. And General Hospital, it's still thriving today, is that
I
right?
have not seen it since. So
Okay.
that was a temporary. I'll be honest, I rarely watch any TV anymore. I'm
Okay.
more into podcasts, or some news channels, trying to keep up on what's going on. Like, my newest thing right now is the reopening of 3 Mile Island, because that's not far from us,
Oh wow.
and understanding nuclear power.
Oh wow.
My late father-in-law was a nuclear physicist,
Oh.
so we used to have these incredible conversations about nuclear. So that's an important energy source. So I've kind
Okay.
of been embracing that,
Okay.
and learning more about that. So I really
Okay.
try to keep my mind into the pulse of everything that's going on in
That's great.
our community.
That's great. So, do you have a favorite musical group or genre of music or musical artist back in high school? And so here's my plug for Reggie and who's
Yes.
Reggie and Heaven's
Yes,
Edge.
yes, yes, that's
Shout
awesome.
out Reggie. So,
Yep. Shout out, hi Reggie.
so
uh
do you have a group? Sounds
I
like disco was a little bit of
Oh
your
yeah, I
thing.
was I can't say I was a disco queen. I did like Donna Summer. Okay, I like the Bee Gees.
Yeah, yeah.
Staying Alive, Staying Alive. And that's kind of one of my songs that kind of pumped me up during my chemotherapy
Hmm.
in 2017, when I was diagnosed with stage 2 bladder cancer. I
Hmm.
literally, in order to keep myself going, because I was pretty much housebound, and I had neutropenia, so I had a
Hmm.
very low immune system, I put on my music and danced around the house.
Okay.
It kept me moving,
Yeah.
and so it was a good thing. And I gosh, I'm a little embarrassed, but I can't help it. I loved Elvis Presley.
Oh, that's great. What
So I
what a
listened to
great musician.
Elvis. Some
Yeah,
of the songs kind of made me cry when I was going through my chemo. So I needed the more the upbeat music. And here I am dancing. I don't have any music on now, but dancing really is a wonderful way of moving your body, and it's fun. And it's just anybody can do it, whether you're little or when you're older.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So did you have a favorite place to hang out with friends or to eat? I know you mentioned Ponzios.
I do recall there were a few opportunities to socialize. They weren't that often, but I remember Kaminsky's and the
Yeah.
Coastline.
Yeah. Nice.
And then I want to say there was Franchine's. Does that ring a bell? It was a
Not to me.
restaurant
Okay.
that I do remember. Oh my gosh, I'm just remembering now. I did get to go to a couple of Sweet 16s. I
Okay.
remember going to Julie Dollinger's Sweet 16. I think it was at a really awesome Chinese restaurant.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then Valerie DePenna, I think it was the Latin Casino.
Oh,
Does
wow.
that does
Yeah,
that
there
ring a
was a
bell?
Latin casino. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I remember going there, and that was the first and only time I tried a cigarette.
Okay.
I think I tried one puff and I coughed and I decided I'm never trying a cigarette again. So I
Okay.
remember I'm just remembering that now. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so those were a few places that I recall enjoying.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
So here we are. And
Oh.
did you like your photo and your quote? And
Mm.
your quote is ask and it shall be given you, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you.
That was from the New Testament in the Bible, Matthew 7:7. And so, yes, I did like that one. I can't say that I actually was applying it because of my parents and that grin and bear it. So I've done a lot better over the years of knocking, like knocking on the door of a neighbor to talk to them about something. I had to knock on the door, if you will, when I was going through my mental health crisis because my neighbor was a psychiatrist and he was also a good friend. And he then, from that point on, took really good care of me so that I could then go on to, have my last child. Uh, I did not like my hair. It was puffy. It's like a mop. If you can see it now, it's longer and I'm embracing my curls.
Okay.
When I went
Okay.
through chemo, I was very glad for having rug like hair because lots of times women you lose all their hair through
Hmm.
chemo. I only lost a little bit of hair. So
Okay.
that was a blessing. You cannot, I will not wear any cowl necks or turtlenecks anymore because as you get to be a certain age, you get overheated.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I prefer sleeveless with a sweater or a v-neck to layer so I can gradually take off everything as the hot flashes start.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So lastly, do you have
Yes.
anything you want to say to anyone or everyone who might be listening? Your parting shot, as it were?
Yeah, my parting words. I just want to say bless you for having the leadership and the courage. I think you said early on your husband helped you to put this together, or
Yeah,
you
he
had it.
kind of read all the fine print for me,
Yes,
and my
yes.
cousin kind of gave me inspiration, and then a bunch of classmates helped me sort of
Oh, okay.
formulate questions. So yeah, it was a group. It was a group effort. Yeah,
Well, I want to thank you for doing this. This is a little unnatural
you're
for me.
welcome. Yeah.
This particular forum, I'm not used to talking about myself. I'm used to doing a proposal about a multi-million-dollar commercial real estate project or talking to a group of people at a fundraiser
Yeah.
asking for, for funds for, for pro-life. So this was, a little bit different for me, but I just want to say to everybody out there, I really hope you're doing well. As I said earlier, the moment you started this, I'm a prayer warrior. So I began praying for all of you. I was very sad when I learned of the passing of Robin Garland. And I know she was a class officer. I was impressed by her leadership during high school. She was definitely a great role model to all of us. So I know some of you out there were close friends, kept in touch with her. So My condolences to all of, to all of you. But I just wish all of you just peace in our world, peace in whatever you're going through. We need to be kind to each other. I encourage everybody to please get out there and vote in the upcoming election. Do your research, and just try to be kind to each other, even if you have differences. Make an agreement to pick your battles carefully, to open your heart. And if you have a disagreement, hug each other, invite a person in for a good meal, maybe a nice little drink, that not necessarily alcohol. Unless they drink alcohol, you can offer lemonade or tea or water or whatever, nice cup of coffee or whatever. But just be kind to each other. We need kindness in this world.
Yes, we do.
We need a lot of love, and we all need to recognize we have so many blessings. We really, really do. And we need to share that positive message with everyone.
For
So
sure.
just
Well,
God bless everybody.
no, thank you for all your wishes and your prayers. And thank you for agreeing to be on the podcast and doing this today. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And you have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
God bless you. Have a great day.
Take care.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Thanks for joining me on It's Been How Long? The podcast about Cherry Hill High School East students from the late 1970s and the early 80s. A shout out to my cousin Brad Corbett, whose podcast, We Weren't Friends in High School, inspired me to do this podcast and whose advice and encouragement have been so helpful. Thanks also to my husband, Randy Coughdale, who read all the fine print on the podcast hosting website so I wouldn't have to. And thanks to Jeff Lyons, content consultant and guinea pig, and to Deborah Smead, also content consultant. And thank you to all our classmates who are listening in. See you next week.